The International Longshoremen's Association is demanding not only the 70% salary increase and a huge increase in medical benefits, they're demanding a total ban on, quote, the automation of cranes, gates, container moving trucks that are used in the loading and unloading of freight at 36 ports. Those ports handle roughly half of the nation's cargo for ships. Luckily, the Buggy Association back in the 1800s didn't have a union, or we never have an automobile. There hasn't been a strike since 1977. A number of these associations, these small businesses, have been contacting Biden and the White House asking for them to help mediate some kind of negotiation. And you know what Biden said? Nothing. He ignored them. Totally ignored them. Any port can handle any type of goods. Some ports are specialized to handle goods for a particular industry. The ports that would be affected by the shutdown include Baltimore, Brunswick, Georgia, the top two busiest ports, automobiles. Philadelphia, which gives priority to fruits and vegetables. I mean, folks, this is serious. New Orleans handles coffee, mainly from South Africa, Southeast Asia, various chemicals from Mexico and North Europe, wood products such as plywood from Asia and South America. Other major ports affected: Boston, New York, New Jersey, Norfolk, Wilmington, North Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, Tampa, in Florida, obviously, Mobile, Alabama, and Houston. You have the 1947 Taft-Hartley Act. Biden says, I'm not getting involved. As I said, Harry Truman used it on the steel strike. Now, that said, why didn't Biden try and do anything to resolve this? I don't mean impose his will, but there's nothing to prevent them from trying to mediate and moderate. And in the end, if this strike goes on more than 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, you will feel the pinch. There will be shortages and prices are going to go up right before the holiday, in the middle of what I consider to be stagflation, where the average person in this country is having a hell of a time making ends meet. This is utterly disastrous, and this is what happened when you have an incompetent, truly incompetent, ideologically driven administration. Chip Roy, our friend from Texas, Representative Roy, am I wrong about something here?
Mark, never. How are you doing, my friend? You feeling okay?
All right, brother. Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, I mean, I'm doing okay. I mean, given the state of the union, if we don't win on November 5th, the Republic isn't going to exist anymore. That's the bottom line. And
I agree.
That's the reality.
That is the reality. And it's funny, I see these stories, Chip Roy. You're one of the debt and deficit hawks in the House of Representatives, and you've been even when you were a staffer. And I see these left-wing media types always saying, nobody wants to cut spending, and neither party wants to cut spending. Let me ask you a question. All the times you and members of the Freedom Caucus have tried to cut spending, did you get support from the media?
Never. We never get support. And they always try to flip it around on us. You know, we're cutting, taking food out of the mouths of orphans and children and so forth. And the fact is, when we try to stand up and hold the line on spending, we're the devil. But yet now the entire American public are suffering from stagflation. You just said it, Mark. Nobody uses the phrase. You and I studied history. We looked at stagflation in the 1970s. And the American people are suffering under that right now. And we've got regulatory and spending-driven inflation. That's the truth. We've got an administration that doesn't mind regulating everything to death. They want to kill the American energy sector. They're driving up the cost of goods for every American to chase their crazy unicorn energy policies. And meanwhile, they're spending money like, there's no consequence.
Like drunken Marxists.
Correct. And we therefore have inflation. So, we could actually solve this. I mean, it's the thing that I'm actually bullish about, the ability for us to save this country if we elect Donald Trump. And we have to. This is the thing I don't understand. Like, people, they need to understand that November 5th is a choice about worldview, about what you want for your country, for your kids and your grandkids. Elect Donald Trump, and you can secure the border. You can get inflation down. You can actually have, make sure that criminals aren't on the streets, save our country. Or you can choose Kamala Harris, and you can literally, get rid of the best country in the history of the world. And that's what we're facing.
I look at these people, Chip Roy. The border was relatively secure, and now it's wide open. You've got sex slavery, child slavery, hundreds of thousands of kids missing, fentanyl pouring over the border, God knows how many illegal arms and so forth. We're importing Venezuelan gang members. And this Kamala Harris has the gall to go to that border, doesn't see a single illegal alien. They're all over the damn place. 20 minutes, goes into a room in front of a cheering audience, gives the most dishonest, demagogic speech I've ever heard, and she's going to secure the border. Have you ever seen a more contemptible, bald-faced liar than Kamala Harris?
It is really hard to put into words, Mark, and I mean this as seriously as I mean anything, and I've been on your show many times. You're a dear friend. We watched this unfold. I represent Texas, or a district in Texas. I sat and talked to Alexis Nungare, the 27-year-old woman whose daughter, Jocelyn, was murdered. She was raped, bound, gagged, killed, murdered by Venezuelan gangs. Her mama, who's 27 years old, put her to bed this July. Mark, it's September. This is like 2 months ago, 3 months ago. She put her daughter to bed on a Sunday night. She was gone the next day. Why? Because directly, literally, direct result of Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Alejandro Mayorkas releasing criminals onto the streets of the United States. They're doing it purposely to take our country away from us. All those men that we celebrate who walked into a wall of bullets in Normandy, all of those people we celebrate who, went across the Delaware River on Christmas Day in 1776, all of it gone. We just give it away because we're allowing these people to come in and destroy our country. Think about it. Jocelyn Nungare went to bed, and now she's no longer with us. Why? Because of Kamala Harris. That's the truth, and we have to actually acknowledge that truth. They don't believe in America. They don't believe in sovereignty. They want to give our country away. All the people who fought for it, they want to give it away. All the sacrifice they made, they want to give it away.
Here, my dear friend Chip Roy. I do get passionate from time to time. I get annoyed from time to time. All my family friends know that's just the way it is. Now, Chip Roy, how hard is it for the media to look up the final vote on that phony bipartisan bill to see that one Republican, Murkowski, voted for it and over half a dozen Democrats voted against it, and Kamala Harris keeps running around and saying, Donald Trump stopped it. Donald Trump stopped it. Did Donald Trump tell Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey and Cory Booker and the rest of the reprobates, did they listen to him? They can look it up, Chip Roy, just as easily as I did, and they let her get away with it. On the first day, I'm going to reintroduce that bill. Apart from the substance, it's BS.
You're exactly right. Let me actually make sure, because it's important for your listeners to understand.
Go ahead.
The majority, an increasing majority of Republicans are actually fighting for the things they believe in. The problem is we're outnumbered. And you just identified an example of that. Let me give you another example. And I know it's an issue you care a lot about. I introduced a bill 3 years ago to defund UNRWA, right? The United Nations World Refugee Organization, which is all a front, as we see today in real terms, a front for Hamas to be able to go and kill our Jewish friends in Israel. And a year ago, literally right now, a year ago in September, we offered an amendment. Scott Perry, who's in a battle to win his race in Pennsylvania, Scott Perry offered an amendment to totally defund UNRWA. I introduced the original bill. He offered the amendment last September, a year ago. All Democrats except for 2 voted against it. But 8 Republicans voted against it. 8 Republicans in the House voted against it. Literally, Mark, 2 weeks before October 7th. This is what we're up against. Those of us that are out here fighting, and I don't get everything right. I'm a human. I'm a flawed human being. I don't get everything right, but I fight for the Constitution. I fight for limited government. I fight for our friends. I fight for Israel. And all of us, we try to get it right. And you got some of our guys that they are so afraid of their own shadow, they'll literally vote against defunding UNRWA because somebody might say something mean about them for defunding some refugee program. Even though you, Mark, and I, and all of your listeners know it's a front for funding our enemies who are literally going out to kill Jews in Israel. Like, that's what we're up against, Mark, and that's what's so frustrating. But on the positive light, we're winning the argument. We're moving the needle as conservatives, Freedom Caucus and others. We need more voters, we need more time, and we need Donald Trump in November.
And what if we don't get Donald Trump? What if we don't keep the House? It's over, isn't it?
If we don't win in November, every listener should know this. And I say this publicly without shame as someone who supported Ron DeSantis. You know that. I don't apologize for that. He's a good man. I love him. He's a good friend.
By the way, I love Ron DeSantis, and Ron knows it,
correct.
too.
And I'm so behind Donald Trump. This is what I don't understand about people, to understand this.
Amen.
If you don't vote for Donald Trump, if you're one of those hand-wringing Republicans who hide behind principles, when Kamala Harris is fine with the FCC deciding it's okay for George Soros to buy up a bunch of radio stations, if you're okay with Kamala Harris supporting Hamas and Hezbollah over Israel, if you're okay with Kamala Harris allowing literally 15,000 criminals to be released into the United States, and for Laken Riley to be killed, and for Jocelyn Nungray to be killed, and for Kayla Hamilton and Rachel Morin and all these Americans to get killed, if you're okay with rampant inflation, then you go ahead and support Kamala Harris. But the bottom line is, those of us who believe in freedom, we're going to support Donald Trump. And I think we're going to win. But everybody listening to this, you need to know, if you don't show up, if you don't drag all your friends, if you don't take everybody from church, if you don't take everybody from synagogue, if you're a gun owner and you don't take all of your gun buddies you go to the range with, then we're going to lose. And if we lose the country. This is it. This is yes or no. Do you believe in America or do you not? That's what's at stake.
So well said. And, Chip, I've been saying, for those never Trumper types or they're on the fence, do you really hate Trump more than you love your country? Because if that's what it comes down to, there's something wrong with you. Well,
and Mark, I think...
Go ahead.
No, I agree with you, brother. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's good.
I say this is someone I think I'm uniquely qualified to say that I have so much admiration and respect for Donald Trump. Standing up on a stage after he gets his earshot, standing up on a stage after another guy shows up to try to kill him at his golf course, showing up at a stage when you're 78 years old, you don't have to do it. Showing up because the entire world wants you to lose. Why? Because the entire world is a part of the globalist infrastructure. And people say, oh, Chip, you're just a conspiracy theorist. Hold on. No, this is real. They want to take our country away from us. They don't believe in sovereignty. They don't believe in America. They don't believe in the First Amendment. You literally have John Kerry sitting on a stage today saying they don't believe in the First Amendment. This is what's at stake. And Donald Trump, whether you love him or hate him, I don't give a crap, Mark. I don't. You've got to decide, do you want to live in a free country? Do you want your kids to live free? That's what's at stake. Donald Trump loves America. He loves the military. He loves his kids. He loves capitalism. You don't have to agree with him on every issue. I don't give a damn. I don't. I know you agree with me on that, Mark. And at the end of the day,
100%.
We have to show up. If you don't show up and drag 10 friends with you, then don't come talk to me about D-Day and talk to me about all the sacrifices your grandparents made to save this country. Don't come to me on July 4th. Don't come to me on Veterans Day or Memorial Day. You are forsaking the memories of the 400,000 tombstones at Arlington National Cemetery if you don't show up and bring people to vote on November 5th to save this country, because that's what's at stake. And I believe that with every ounce of my being.
I agree. 100%. They want to destroy the Supreme Court. They want to destroy the Electoral College. They've already destroyed the border. They're destroying the currency. They're destroying and hollowing out the United States military. Look at what they're doing to this country. They want to regulate what we can own in our homes, whether it's air conditioning units or lawnmowers or automobiles or whatever it is. They want to regulate what kind of homes we can live in. They don't like single-family homes. When she talks about holistic, I know what she meant. They want dense housing, public transportation, everything glommed in together. That's what she means by a holistic approach. I know that because I've studied what they mean by a holistic approach. That's what they mean. These people are masterminds without minds. They're incompetent ruling class bureaucrats, and everything they do is about centralizing power. They are power hungry. They don't give a damn about the average person. They gave a damn about the average. It cracks me up, Chip Roy, when Stalinists like Bernie Sanders talk about democracy. Where's democracy in any police state, any Marxist regime? People have no say about their health care or anything else. Yet people buy this. Isn't it weird?
It is weird, and I think you and I, because we focus on this, like your average listener, they've got to go to work. They got to take their kids to practice or school or whatever they're doing. You and I focus on this. You and I watch and look at what's going on with the FCC, right? And what's happening with George Soros being able to use debt to buy.
Let me stop you right there. I want you to explain to the American people what George Soros and the FCC did today.
So, in violation of law, in my observation, George Soros is being able to acquire like 200 radio stations, and the FCC issued an opinion, 3-2, 3 Democrats to 2 Republicans, saying it was okay for him to do it, so that now he's going to be able to control the content of those 200 radio stations, and they're going to say, oh, it's all fine, it's no big deal, there's nothing to be seen here. No, the truth is, they're actually ignoring the law. They're actually ignoring what the way this stuff is supposed to work. And the reason is because they can. That's the truth. I mean, the fact is, there are some, like legal avenues we can pursue, but you have an opinion that was issued 3-2 by the FCC that, and the text was released today. But George Soros, who's funded all these district attorneys, now he's in control of 200 radio stations in America. You think that's an accident, Mark?
And by the way, Chip Roy, one of them is one of the oldest radio stations in America, formerly WCIU, now WPHT in Philadelphia. And Westwood One Cumulus, that syndicates me, was told about 3 weeks ago that my show, despite its ratings, is gone. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but it doesn't surprise me.
Already started. And they don't want David McCormick to win. They don't want Trump to win. It's a key station in Pennsylvania. That's not an accident.
No, it's not an accident at all. And here's the thing. Like, I put out a statement. I think it might have been, I don't even remember the time mark, but probably back in May, because I was talking to the FCC, like this was coming. Now, can we stop this? Probably, but only if we win in November. Guys, Everything is at stake. Everything. The FCC, the court, they're going to pack the court. They're going to make states out of D.C. and Puerto Rico. They're going to do everything they can. They're going to take away your Second Amendment rights. They're going to fight you on every single thing you believe in. The thing is, this is not conspiracy theory, Mark. Right?
They've told us.
They've told us. Literally, if your enemy tells you what they're going to do, you should believe them. And look, let me end this on a positive, or finish how my position here is a positive. Mm-hmm. We have been fighting here as a Freedom Caucus. We held spending on non-defense spending flat. The defense spending increase we took out of COVID, we took out of the IRS. We passed H.R. 2, the best border security bill we've ever passed. We passed the best National Defense Authorization Act we've ever passed. We did that when we had the speakers fight. Mark, you and I, we talked about it during that. I didn't want to risk that whole deal. And last fall, I disagreed with some of my colleagues when we got rid of Speaker McCarthy. But here we are.
You were stand-up.
I think that was the right position.
Now, don't get mad at me. We've got a break, but I want to get in here.
Okay.
If people want to help you, because you're running for re-election, where do they go?
ChipRoy.com, or go to CHIPROYTX on Twitter, ChipRoy.com. Help me out. We're going to go win. We got to get Ted Cruz elected, Donald Trump elected in Texas. I'm going to go up to Pennsylvania, New York, help my colleagues this week. Mark Levin, you're a hero. I love you, brother. We're going to go. We're going to get this done. November 5th. Everybody
You
show
telling
up.
me Scott Perry is a tough race, Mr. Producer? We need to bring him on. All right.
It's a tough race. Get Scott on. It's a tough
Chip,
race.
God bless you. Be safe, brother.
God bless you, brother.
You too.